Alright guys, it's another day here for me. Been having a lot of issues lately with the car, like just starting cold. So it's been starting real rough and lumpy, like it's got a massive cam. So yeah, I've done a few jobs today on it. So first of all, my checks were, I just played with the throttle position sensor. I just like rotated it, I opened up the intake and had a look up the pipes to see if the butterfly was turning. It obviously doesn't, because it's the iron model where it's driven by a motor in here instead. I've been playing with the TPS, I've been checking the resistance of it. I couldn't really get an accurate reading. When I did check resistance on the bench, it seemed to read within spec, so I think it is working. I've been unplugging and testing the VVTi solenoid. So after all these checks and putting it back to how it was, I believe it's going to start alright. I've just got to connect up the battery again because I've reset the ECU. So hopefully the car runs smooth, starts up on cold idle alright, and doesn't rattle in the gearbox, and that'll be two issues fixed. Checked other things like voltage from the alternator, so just checked that it is charging the battery. I was seeing close to 14 volts, so yeah, it's definitely charging the battery, so all that side's good. I did notice a couple hoses didn't have clamps on and vacuum wires, so I put them on, but they had a pretty good fit anyway, so I don't think it was leaking. So yeah, we'll just try and start it up and hopefully it gathers idle alright. Fingers crossed it idles again and holds it. So far so good, it's idling high enough because it's a little cold. It might still have some temperature in it, but the idle should drop and sit there at around 700 RPM hopefully. No misfiring going on, no random smoke, so that's a good sign too, because it was puffing little bits of black smoke earlier and coughing a bit. The revs are slowly dropping. Should flick the idle and it should hold idle, I think. Still a little cold. This was rattling around earlier, so I could hear it like flapping and hunting, and that seemed to have caused the rough idle. So me just playing with things and playing with connectors and cleaning things seems to have maybe corrected it, and also resetting the ECU with the battery. And the idles are coming down, so it should be roughly around 700 or almost at it. It's a little high at the moment still, just under 1,000. I'll take it for a drive and see what it idles at when it's completely warm. So yeah, idle's dropped now after I've gotten out of the garage, and it's sitting on about 700 RPM, idling relatively smooth, so it's not too bad. I pulled all this apart yesterday, I have no idea what that rattle is. Something in there's rattling, like a cable or something. With revs it sort of goes away. Yeah, driving around, just cruising, it seems to be going alright. At first it was a little bit cold, maybe a little bit hesitant, but now it's warmed up, it's cruising fine, it's responsive, there's no misses that I can feel. Or here, so yeah, I don't know, it feels definitely better now. I've done a few checks, but I really didn't change much. Should be able to put my foot down a little bit now, and it should build boost and feel pretty good, so hopefully I can enjoy the car a bit more now on cold starts rather than having to warm it up for ages. Definitely hitting good. I can feel the VVTi kick in and throw me back in my seat, so that's a good sign, and yeah, it seems to pull good, so hopefully it stays like that. Hopefully the ECU sort of remembers everything, and all the checks I've done, maybe I've just cleaned some contacts by unplugging and plugging things back in, and yeah, I don't know. My only guess maybe is the throttle position sensor, because I operated it so many times just sitting there and cleaned up the contacts or however it reads.
So yeah, maybe that's sort of one issue, but you think by pushing on the throttle so many times while you drive the car it should clean it, but I was wide open to close constantly. So hopefully, yeah, that's definitely reset some things. Go for a little highway pull, see how it goes. I can't face the camera forward for you guys just because I don't really have a mount to do that at the moment. So here we go. So yeah, I felt it hesitate on the second gear pull. I think it was the ECU sort of learning or something had a glitch, but through third and fourth it seemed to hold nicely. So hopefully when I turn back around and do another second gear pull it doesn't have that issue. We'll do another second gear pull, we'll see how we go. I'll even start in first, there's no one behind me so I can stop. Yeah, well there we go, the idle's dropped right down to 600 now. It's not really idling that great. So the issues still persist. Yeah, pulled alright through the gears, it's just this idle once it's warmed up a lot, it drops even more. So yeah, I'm not sure what to play with. Do some more checks and we'll return to it soon. Alright, we've got about just over 500 RPM, so she's warmed up and dropped the RPM. Just play with some things and see what happens. Disconnect the VVTi solenoid again. No change. So I don't think it's that. Pinch the vacuum line, the revs drop, so that's all normal. I think it's the TPS. If I bang on it, it does anything. Not really. Nothing there. No change. Have to come back and do more checks. Just by guessing, I readjusted the TPS just by rotating a little bit, corrected the revs while I was on hot idle, and so far so good. It's staying there, not missing, sounds better. It just drove really nice. Yeah, like I said before, hopefully, hopefully I can start to enjoy the car now. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't play up for a little while because getting sick of working on it. Yeah, so after our cruising and driving today and pushing the car a bit harder than normal, the gearbox started making a bit of a vibration noise from the tunnel. Didn't think it was too bad, so I drove it home and yeah, just pulled it apart, and I think I've worked out what it is. So yeah, as you can see, it's really close to the body here. It's already been cut before, and yeah, as I was driving along, that's what I would hear. So it looks like there's a couple other things torn and broken here as well. This boot under here is a bit loose, so I've got to clip that back on. I'll probably do that from under the car a bit easier, so it's all stuff I'll look at tomorrow, but I'll check the mounts to the gearbox and make sure nothing's actually moved. Kind of looks a little bit offset to the hole, but being that that's already cut once before, I say that it was always close to that. So yeah, maybe just with a bit of extra heat and tension today, it just slightly started knocking on it again. So yeah, job for tomorrow.